Hello, my darlings. Welcome to this Wonderland session. Wonderland session number 10. We're officially onto 2 hands. I guess for the next one, I won't be able to count it on my hands anymore, and that's okay. That is okay. So the screen is sideways this time just so that it looks better when I upload it to YouTube. So I hope that that's cool with everyone, and you might just want to turn your screen to the side and we'll just rock that way. But welcome to the show. And today's Wonderland session is all about how do we stop spiraling when we are experiencing a downward spiral. And this is a wonderful question, wonderful topic to address, because I can actually guarantee you that you will experience a spiral at some point in your life. Maybe even today. Maybe even in the next 5 minutes. And the reason for that is because we're human. And no matter what it is that we want to do, we are going to experience spiral. We are going to come up against things that we don't like, things that don't feel good, things that are confusing or troubling or worrying. This is just the nature of the beast. And so today we're going to talk about what we can do when we feel that we're spiraling, or when we notice that we're spiraling, so we can get back onto the next, like get back into that good feeling place, right? And sometimes that can feel really difficult. But it's not impossible, and today we're going to talk about some of the ways we do that. So, the first thing that we need to keep in mind when we have that experience of spiraling is to know that it's normal and it's okay. So I feel like a lot of the power or the negative momentum in spiraling comes from us feeling like, I shouldn't be doing this, right? We beat ourselves up, we feel guilty, we feel wrong, we feel paralyzed by what we're doing, we're extremely worried about it, and we think like, oh, but like, you know, my devotion is to feeling good, and like my New Year's resolution was to feel good, and I'm not feeling good, and what do I do, and oh my God, right? And we totally put ourselves through the ringer. So here is a radical self-love concept, and the radical concept is that we do not beat ourselves up for spiraling. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. I know that it's madness. But beating ourselves up for spiraling, aka being human, isn't working. You know this, right? Because every time that you spiral and then beat yourself up about it, you don't feel any better. It doesn't get you to the place that you want to get to. And in fact, that feeling of beating yourself up, punishing yourself, or even having a sense of shame about it only serves to hold you in that space for longer. So the first thing I would love for you to do, write this on your wall, put it in your file of facts. I'm tapping on a file of facts that you can't see. Put it in your file of facts, put it on the wall, write, it's okay for me to spiral. I am not a bad person for spiraling. It's all right. I release it to the universe. It is not the end of the world. This is obviously a very long thing to put on a piece of paper, but you can paraphrase. Just do whatever you have to do so that you fully grasp the idea that it's all right if you spiral, and that you're going to spiral, and that that's all right. So that is number 1, taking the grief out of the spiral. Because when I've been talking about feeling good for a long time now, like since October, end of October, I've been talking about Feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. Feeling good should be your only resolution. It should be your biggest goal. It should be your highest priority, da 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 da. And I've had so many questions from people saying like, I don't feel good all the time. Like, am I fucking it up? Am I a bad person? What do I do? Oh my God, this is crazy. And they're really beating themselves up for it. It's like they're putting themselves through Catholic school and having a guilt-tripping mother all at once, and they're doing it to themselves. So if this is something that you have experienced where everything's going well and you're in the vortex and you're like, yes, I got it, yes, I got it, and something throws you off and you begin to spiral, it is essential to know that this is normal, that you are not the only person that is experiencing this, and that it's okay. And most crucially, that knowing that it's okay and allowing yourself a sense of forgiveness means that you will be able to move on from it faster. So that is number one. Let yourself off the hook for not feeling great. It shouldn't be a radical concept, but it is. So that's number one. The second one is just to have the awareness when we start to spiral or we're not feeling good. Just take a moment and notice like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. Like, oh, I am paying attention to something that doesn't make me feel good. Oh, I'm thinking about that thing that is a really big worry of mine. Or, oh, I'm really putting a lot of attention on what my partner is doing that I don't like, and that's not making me feel very good. So it's very much about just having the awareness of what's going on. And I said this in the last Wonderland session that we did, that secretly I think is my best Wonderland session so far. You should check it out. Wonderland session number 9. Meditation is so important because it gives us a gap where we can sit back and really see our thoughts as opposed to being our thoughts. So I'm going to say it again. If you have not tried meditating, whatever, I really want you to give this a shot, okay? And sidebar, I usually meditate to guided meditations or music or an Abe lecture or something like that. And I love that. But I was listening to an Abe lecture the other day, and she said, when you meditate, listen to white noise. So listen to the air conditioner or a dripping tap or something that is a steady noise, but that is not too distracting, and set your timer for 15 to 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm typically not great at meditating in silence, but let me give this a try. And it was raining, so I was lying in bed meditating, listening to the rain falling and listening to the cars driving through the puddles, which is actually quite relaxing. I set my timer for 15 minutes, and at like 13 minutes, my mind started to shift. At 13 minutes, I don't know exactly, but I can gauge it kind of based on how long I was in that space. I didn't open my eyes to check. At 13 minutes, I was getting ideas, and they were very clear, and I was getting lots of intuitive hits and lots of information, like these downloads from my inner being that I don't get when I listen to a guided meditation. So guided meditation is a really great way to get yourself into the flow of meditation if you've never really tried it and you're a little uncomfortable with the concept, or you're not sure if you can sit there for that long. But once you've got your training wheels, essentially, with your guided meditations, try sitting there for 15 to 20 minutes, listen to some white noise, and do it that way. And every time your mind strays, just bring it back. Come back to your breathing. Tell yourself, like, oh, these are just my thoughts. Cool. Come back to your breathing. I like to focus on my breathing. So 15 minutes to 20 minutes is optimal, and I now understand why Abe says that this is a good time frame, because at like 13 minutes for me was when my chatter died down and the real feedback came through. So I want you to give that a try. So anyway, that's why I'm saying that the practice of meditation helps us to not associate with our thoughts so much, not take them personally, not feel like our thoughts are facts, because they're not facts. They're not. They're just thoughts. They come and they go, and they're good and they're whatever and da-da-da. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Okay. So, number 1, don't feel guilty. Number 2, awareness, right? Got that? Cool? Okay. Next point. So here's the thing that happens when we're spiraling. There's a topic on our mind. It might be your relationship, your work, your finances, your health, your friendships, the fact that you burnt dinner, who knows, whatever it is. Here's what I have discovered. And I think that you will find some resonance in this. Thinking about something that doesn't feel good will not begin to feel good if you continue to think about it. That's what I've discovered. I've discovered that the more that I go into a thought that doesn't feel good, the deeper I dig myself into an emotional hole. The worse it feels. The shittier my mood. And because I'm in this place, it's really tempting to stay there. I think a lot of us we're problem solvers. We want to get to the bottom of it and we want to figure it out. But the truth of the matter is that we never figure things out from the same emotional place that created the problem in the first place. So if you're really stressed about something, I would love for someone to prove me wrong on this, but this has never been the case for me. If I have ever been stressed about something and I'm thinking about it, it is never in that moment of stress or panic or worry that I have a solution. That has literally never worked for me. The times that I come up with solutions are when I throw my shoes on and take the dog for a walk, or when I go for a long shower, or when I am just taking a break and like pottering around my house, doing the dishes, something like that. There is a reason why cognitive dissonance works. It's because you are using your mind differently, and that is how solutions come to you. And then they also can come to you in meditation. So it's said that Einstein, when he was working on a particularly difficult problem, he wouldn't just bang his head against the wall for 5 hours. Once he realized he was at a point where he was feeling stuck or it was difficult, he would stop and he would play his violin for like an hour. And while he was doing that, while his mind was focused on another task, that's when the solutions would come. Or he would just get enough distance from the problem to be able to go back to it with a fresh set of eyes and approach it differently. So, thinking about something that doesn't feel good will never begin to feel good, and you will never create a solution in that place. Write that one down as well. Put it on your wall, because the temptation to go there when things don't feel good is at an all-time high, because we feel so bad that all we want is just to not feel bad. Holy shit, we just want to not feel bad. But it doesn't work that way. And this is something that we need to become aware of. Like, think of all the times you've tried that and all the times it hasn't worked. Every single time it hasn't worked. So we need to let go of that as a potential solution, because it's not working, and it's never worked, and it's never going to start working. So let's just throw it on the garbage heap and do something different. Okay. So what we can do when we are in this spiral is choose to focus on something else that feels good in our life. And I have said this a million times, but we forget when we're in that spiral. We forget that there are so many other things in our lives that feel great, that are amazing, that are filled with joy. Like, maybe it's your relationship that brings you joy, or maybe it's your work, maybe it's your writing that you're doing, or the picture that you're painting, or maybe it makes you feel really good just to go to the art store and like run your hands over the canvases and get all excited about the potential, right? So even if there's like 4 things in your life that are going wrong right now, there is at least one thing in your life that's good, that's fun, that's happy, that's okay. And so when we feel shitty, we want to put our attention on the things that feel good and get into a mode of appreciation and a place of gratitude so that we can like break that cycle. Because like I said, the more that we think about the thing that doesn't feel good, the shittier and shittier we're going to feel. So we need to just be like, take a break, think about something else, put your mind on something else. And we can also use our bodies to break the momentum of this negative cycle. So when we feel bad and we're spiraling, we are basically putting, like, the more that we think about something, we are like putting more and more and more energy into this problem and creating more and more momentum. And so the more we think about it, the bigger it gets and the hairier it gets and the more it speeds up and the more we're creating of these same problems. And it's like a nightmare. So we want to break the momentum. And one of the ways that we break the momentum is by thinking about something else, something that feels good, something that makes us laugh, that makes us happy. Or we can use our bodies. This is my favorite thing. Use your body to break that momentum. So you can meditate, you can take a nap, you can watch some stand-up comedy and laugh your ass off. You can have an orgasm. You can dance around your house. You can go for a walk. You can go to the gym. You can go to a yoga class, or you can just do yoga on your living room floor. Somebody is saying you can hula hoop. Absolutely. Hula hooping is a great way to break up the negative momentum. If you have one of those little trampolines, like a mini trampoline rebounder, you can jump on that shit. And I promise you it will break the momentum, the negative momentum that you've been putting all your energy into. And that's the goal. The goal is to break the momentum. Just stop it where it's at. That's it. That's all you need to do. We're just trying to get you to a different place, because we can't keep focusing on our problems and assume that the more energy we give them, the more we're going to solve them. It doesn't work like that. As much as we would love that to be the case, it just doesn't work. So we have to come up with new solutions. The other thing that I wanted to say is sometimes when it comes to Abe stuff, there is it seems a little bit unsure maybe what you should do about feeling negative emotions. Like, is it okay to feel negative emotions? What should you do with them? Do you stay in them? Do you go to therapy? Do you heal them? Like, what does that look like? And my take on the situation, and everyone kind of has a little bit of a different interpretation, my take on the situation is that it's completely okay to feel your feelings. And if you have been feeling really sad, what you ideally want to do is try to move your way up the emotional ladder. So feeling anger is actually higher on the scale than sadness, because sadness leaves us in this like bereft, depressed, energyless place. So if you can move to being pissed off about something, that's actually great, because it'll give you some energy and a bit of momentum so that you can continue to climb the ladder, right? So that you can start to feel hopeful and start to feel optimistic and go up and up and up. So it's okay to feel your feelings. If you're pissed off, I don't think anyone would suggest that you should pretend that that's not there. Right? I think it's important that you feel your feelings. If you're pissed, that you yell, or you beat your pillow, or you write an angry letter that you don't send, or whatever it takes to like get the feeling out of your body, because these are things that we viscerally feel. But the idea is just not to stay in it too long. So feel it and then do what you can do to express it, and then to move to a different place on the emotional ladder. So think about something that makes you feel slightly better. So it's not necessarily about avoiding your feelings or denying your feelings. It's about feeling them, honoring them, accepting that they're there, and then being like, but I don't want to feel this forever, so I'm going to do something that will move me out of this feeling. And that's really the goal. So yeah, that is how I feel about that. And those are really the ways that we stop spiraling. It's all about managing our mental state and our vibration. And that's what all of this work is about. It is about recognizing that we are always in control of how we feel, even if someone pisses us off, even if someone cuts us off in traffic, or our boss says something rude, or I don't know, somebody trips you in the street by accident, or even on purpose, right? These things will happen. This is part of life. There is, you know, interacting with other people can be really messy, but we don't have to let those situations control our day. We don't. We don't. I mean, we can be at the behest of everybody else. We can let everybody else's behavior toss us around like a tiny little boat on a huge stormy sea. But that's not really living our lives. What that really is just being a passenger in your life as opposed to the creator of your life and the creator of your expression. And you will never feel truly satisfied or self-expressed if you are allowing everybody else's behavior to determine how you feel and thus what you do with your day. So I think it's really important that we realize that as much as our intention is to feel good, like that is the most important thing. Like number one, feeling good is the most important thing. But number two, we are completely in control of that. It is our responsibility to feel good no matter what is going on around us. And that is never going to change. There's never going to be a time where we can pass that one off to somebody else. It will always be in our hands. It will always be our responsibility to manage our vibration, manage the way that we respond to people, and all of those kinds of things. One of the things that I had our girls do in the Unicorn Cleanse recently was to treat everybody that they met for one day as if that person was the most important person in the world. And the responses that I got back from that, for people who went out and tried this, were absolutely incredible. And one of the reasons why that works is because we are bringing our best selves to the situation and honoring the best in other people. And that is all part of this. It's about taking responsibility. So as much as we can be like, oh, I went into the coffee shop and like the woman was really rude to me and da-da-da-da-da, we need to acknowledge what our part was in that dance, right? It takes two to tango, as they say, you know, blah, blah. However, if we change our side of the dance, then they are forced to change their side too. And they're not even really forced. It is just cause and effect. If you treat somebody with love and kindness and absolute attention and presence, then they are going to respond in kind. They're going to be blown away. They're going to go out of their way to help you. And this is like what it's all about. We are responsible for creating the world around us that we want to see, which means we need to A, make feeling good a priority, B, get in alignment with ourselves, which means every time we don't feel good, every time we start to spiral, we implement these ideas. And we take responsibility for what we're reflecting to the world around us and the people that we know. So, you know, it's like okay, so there's this idea where you treat everybody that you meet as if they're the most important person, da 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 da. But if you then come home and you are rude to your boyfriend, or you pick a fight with your dad, or you know, don't take your dog out because like you don't feel like it right now, then what are you really doing? So this thought really does extend to absolutely everything, not just the strangers, because let's be real, it's actually really easy to be nice to strangers because there's no story, there's no baggage, there's no drama, you'll probably never see them again. It's really easy to be nice to people that we have no real investment in because there's no bullshit, there's no baggage. But the people that we live with, the people that are our family or our best friends, the people that we tell ourselves stories about, or the people we've had conflict with in the past, that is a whole different story. But it is up to us to create the relationships that we really want in our lives. It's totally up to us. Even if your boyfriend is like being a jerk to you a lot of the time, you are still completely in control of that situation. You can get into such good alignment that you don't even notice it. You can get into such good alignment that he is forced to join you in that good alignment place, which often happens when you're in the vortex. Other people are drawn to that. You can be so in alignment that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna like go in the other room. I don't need this. Or you could choose to walk away. It's always up to you. So don't forget that. The power is always with you. Always, 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 always. And we feel so often like we're helpless, like we don't know what to do, like, oh, if only he would blah, or if only she would say X, or if only so-and-so would give me the reassurance that I desperately need. No, we have to do that for ourselves. We have to reassure ourselves, we have to validate ourselves, we have to give ourselves the love and care and time that we need. That's it. That's it. It is nobody else's job. And as long as you expect that it is, or act like it is, or feel like it is, the longer you're going to be unhappy and in a shitty place, and you're going to be just disappointed with everybody. But it's not their job. It is not their job. It is your job. So that's it. That is today's Wonderland session number 10. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be doing this Wonderland session next week from Melbourne, Australia. Holler if you hear me. And I'm not sure what time it will be, but I will let you know ahead of time on Instagram. And additionally, if you would like to come party with me in Brisbane on Saturday evening, there are tickets available still, not a lot, but a few, galadarling.com/events. And then I'm speaking in Melbourne on the Wednesday following. There are still tickets for that too. I would love to see you. Wellington is sold out, so do not waste your time if you want a ticket. I'm telling you, they will be sold out. So come join me. I'm really excited to see you. I'm gonna wear a wig for you. It's gonna be great. You can ask me anything you want. We can all night. I love you. Have a beautiful week.